Hey everybody, welcome back to The Stuff of Legend. My name is D-Lo and I've got another video for you today. And today we are going to be talking about a fan requested video. Daniel's Hot Topic says, Daniel, can you do a live stream on Marvel TV series and movies? I just finished watching Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6 finale, and I saw Season 7 first episode yesterday and I'm excited. You know what? Heck yeah, we can. So I'm actually a little bit behind. I've got to confess to you. Let me go ahead and pull this up so you guys can see this. What's up, guys? It's good to see you again. It's great to have you on the channel. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you can be alerted right away when I go live next time. That way you won't miss a thing. You'll be here right when this video starts. In the meantime, I wanted to show you guys the topic for today is discussing Marvel TV. Now, again, Daniel's Hot Topics, thank you for sending in this request. I haven't gotten a chance to wrap up Season 6, and I've gotten most of the way through, but I haven't gotten to the finale yet, and I have not started Season 7. Season 7's premiere, though, is apparently having quite a bit of success. A lot of people are liking it. My wife even got to see it, and I didn't. So she watched that. And she told me she really liked it and she's excited to see more. You're not the only person that's been telling me that. I wanted to talk with you guys about more or less what's going on with Marvel TV. There's quite a bit to discuss, especially with like a lot of the business changes that have happened. So much is in the air, but a lot seems like it may be not approaching its great finale and end as we thought it would. I'll go ahead and share my screen with you guys so you can see where we are at. I'm going to cut over here. A quick Google search of Marvel TV reveals that there is probably a lot more Marvel TV to watch than you might have realized. Not all of it is terrific, but quite a bit of it is quite good. So you see here, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the first one. That's probably the most popular of all of the series and shows. Other than that, I would suggest it's probably going to be like the Netflix series, for instance, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist probably being the least of all of those series, not in my opinion, but just in general, and Punisher and Luke Cage, and then of course the crossover series, The Defenders, which did not include the Punisher. I thought they were a lot of fun. I thought they were great shows. First, for sure, Daredevil being, I think, a total masterpiece. That show, all 3 seasons is just gold. Punisher as well, I thought was brilliant first and second season. Iron Fist season 2 was better than season 1 by 18 miles. Like if as big of a gap of quality as you can get, season 1 was like subpar. It was like barely good enough to warrant a season 2, and season 2 ended up massively impressing everybody, probably due to the low expectations, but it was actually really good. I liked season 2. So for me, I really enjoyed almost every one of these shows that I've seen so far. I saw the first few episodes of Legion. My wife didn't like that, so we ended up stopped watching that. Runaways, I saw the first season, haven't gotten a chance to get around to the second. I got like the first episode of the second season. Didn't get a chance to finish that one. Saw the first season of Cloak and Dagger. I thought it was good. The pace on that one was quite slow. That one was a bit of a grind to watch week to week to week to week. Because every week you're just like, that's it. That's, like it was good. It was building, but there was not enough payoff, I think, in that series. They should have written it in a way that it paid off a little quicker in every episode. That's my opinion. Now, I do think that we're going to see them again, obviously, in the Runaways crossover. Their show has been canceled, but I think that we may see a resurgence of Marvel TV shows that are separated in a way from the Marvel universe, from like the main cinematic universe. This being starting with the demonstration of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. originally being canonized into the MCU as a branch off of the MCU, but never ever crossing back upstream. And that was always a weird point of disappointment for the fans, because we were all told by like Jeff Loeb and even Kevin Feige kind of alluded to, yes, they're all in the same universe, but he was more hesitant. He didn't have control over that TV series. and he wanted to reserve all of the good characters and story plots from Marvel Comics for himself. And obviously he would want to do that. I mean, you know, that he's trying to make money out here. I get it. But the TV series, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so not for everybody. I understand a lot of people aren't going to enjoy it, but it actually does really well as far as ratings. I would like to point you guys quickly to the ratings over here on IMDb, 7.5 out of 10, 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 8.10 out of off of TV.com. So click over here with me, or you don't have to click. I'll just go there. The link here shows 95% is the average tomato meter for critics, and then for the audience score, again, it's 90%. That's quite high. Now with Rotten Tomatoes, again, it's a thumb up, thumb down system. So as long as the critics give it a 7 out of 10, then that counts as a thumb up. If it's a 6.9, it's a thumbs down. And so most people are rating it higher than 7 out of 10 rating, which doesn't mean that it's a knockout of the park, 10 out of 10 out of 10, or 9,999,999. That's not what it's saying here. It just means that most people think it's between 7 out of 10 and 10 out of 10. And so 95%, in fact, quite enjoy it. So that's a good score. You can click here to see even more strict details. You can click on top critics, and it does drop down to 89% of all critics gave it between 7 and 10 out of 10. But all critics included is a 95. I think that's actually very good. Even when you trim back 10% of that to the 89%, or less than 10, that's like 6%. You trim off 6% of that for the top critics. That's still a very good percentage. Still very good rating. And I think a lot of people have kind of grown onto Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It started with a different kind of flavor. They ended up taking the story to a level that was about as grand in scope as the MCU is starting to become, or as it was starting to become when they did it. They went interdimensional, they went intergalactic, they went different timelines. They did all of this stuff before Infinity War and Endgame. And to me, it shows a lot of creativity. It shows even almost a spirit of competition between the MCU and the Marvel TV series creators, like Jed Whedon, Joss Whedon, who are the original creators. But then you also have like Jeff Loeb and Jeffrey Bell, people that had stepped in to kind of create this secondary universe for Marvel television. To do a quick descriptor, if you guys are confused about like what is and is not officially canon, they are all kind of canon. Like they're all agreed that they are in the same multiverse, in the same, in some cases, universe. The difference though is that the two studios, Marvel Studios and Marvel Television Studios, do not like each other. They don't agree on where they want to take these characters. They fight over which characters they can use, what storylines they can pursue, and neither one has to answer to the other. So if they disagree, they just do it, and then it pisses off the other one even more. So what happened was, very early on, the Marvel Television Division started this offshoot from the MCU, and they both agreed it's in the same universe. Bickering continued, and then they kind of just said, we're going to do whatever the heck we want as long as we don't use the same characters and we don't reference each other. So they exist in the same world. They just don't reference anything. Nothing really goes back and forth between the movies or the television shows. And so that's an unfortunate truth. That is true for pretty much every single one of these TV series. The only exception to this is the shows that are coming from Marvel Studios. So the ones that you don't see here that are coming to Disney Plus, those are not made by Marvel Television. Those are television shows made by Marvel Studios, the film division. They created their own TV lot where they could shoot like WandaVision, they could shoot Moon Knight, they could shoot She-Hulk, they could shoot Miss Marvel, they could shoot Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they could shoot Loki. Everything that they're going to be doing they on Disney Plus, those shows are not Marvel Television. They're TV shows made by the film division, and they did that so they could have crossing over with themselves, with their own controlled narratives in the film division. And that's kind of like how deep the rivalry goes between Marvel TV and Marvel Studios for the films, is that the films and the TV shows don't like each other so much that they actually created their own studios so they would never have to deal with Marvel Television again. The good thing about this, I think, is that with Bob Iger kind of stepping down and Bob Chapek stepping up, I think it's now kind of focusing a little bit more on allowing the tentacles of money making to spread. So even though the Marvel movie division is booming and growing and that's like their primary focus, I think Bob Iger's influence was very close relationship with Kevin Feige and just kind of like, you know what, we're just going to give it all to Kevin, let everything kind of fall under that same banner. I think, and I don't have any real data to back this up, but based on what I'm going to show you guys as far as the articles that are coming out, things that are being spoken and said right now by Marvel Television, it's sounding more optimistic. And I think that the relationship between Marvel Television Studios and Bob Chapek is very simple. If you keep us around, there's more content and people will keep watching who are already watching, and you just get to make more money. We won't have to cross over with the movies if we don't want to, and if they want us to, we absolutely can. There's multiverse now, and we can make that happen in a way that doesn't step on anybody's toes. I think that's where they're going. I'll show you guys those articles right now before we kick off those articles so we can get into why I think these shows are probably going to be allowed to continue on beyond the season finales we're talking about right now, especially with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The talk is that it's going to be its last season, but there's new word coming from important people. So I'll talk about that in just 1 second. Let's go over to the comments because I see Daniel's Hot Topics, who's the reason I'm making this video. He has something to say. Let me go ahead and pull this up so you can see very clearly right here below me that this video is for you, my man. What's up? Daniel's Hot Topic says, hey, Daniel, what's up? I just finished watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6 finale, and it was awesome. And I saw Season 7 premiere, and it was awesome because they time traveled to the 30s. Is it canon? And then let me stop right there because I see a couple of other comments that I think are disconnected, so I'll read the first one and answer that. The first one is, first of all, I said this in the beginning. Unfortunately, before the making of this video, I have not seen the premiere of Season 7 yet. I wanted to watch that with my wife. She already watched it. She watched it without me, but I wanted to watch it with her. So I haven't seen that yet. We haven't gotten a chance to sit down together to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and guess. I haven't seen it unless there is direct references to the actual MCU events and there's characters that cross over. I'm going to say it's canon to the multiverse. So like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. can happen in its own timeline and then kind of splinter off into its own thing with time travel. And it can also happen because, you know, that's kind of how they explained it in Endgame, is that just because you create a splinter timeline doesn't mean it doesn't mean that it rewrites the existing timeline. It actually creates a new, it's a really weird way to explain it, and I'm super not literal with explaining what they explained in Endgame, so I apologize for that. But basically, this going back to the 30s for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. sounds awesome. Like, I'm super all down for that. Like, I love that concept. I want to see it. That makes me more excited to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., frankly. And I know that got a lot of other people excited. A lot of people tuned in for the premiere, and I'll talk about that as well. I have an article for that too that I'll show you. I'm gonna guess that it's canon to the multiverse, but not to the MCU main six, like they call it the 616. 616 is the main comic universe timeline, but I think they kind of referenced the MCU as, what was it again? It was like, I think it was like 9999 something. They said it in Far From Home. I should have this off the top of my head. I don't, unfortunately, but I may be able to pull it up for you guys. MCU multiverse number. Yeah, that's what it is. It's Earth 199999. I'll show you guys that on my screen right now. You guys see this? This is the MCU multiverse number. This was designated to us and made publicly known in I believe it was Far From Home. I believe they referenced that on a screen when Mysterio was kind of laying out his plan to Nick Fury and also to Peter Parker. So I'll say that I think that it may be canon to the main multiverse, or to the main universe, but it is canon to it's canon to the multiverse, not canon to the specific MCU. But I won't know that until I see it, so I can judge it accurately and really formulate thoughts based on what I've seen. So until then, I can't really accurately assess that. That's just a guess from me. But very well could be. All right. So the Daniel's Hot Topic says, I hear the new spin-off Agents of S.W.O.R.D. and Secret Warriors, whichever the title will be on Disney Plus, and everything on Disney Plus is canon, and we'll have the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. make cameos. So if they cameo, then it should be canon. I agree, and I think that it's possible that what I'm going to show you now is actually going to, again, further validate what you're suggesting right now, is that if it's on Disney Plus, it's film canon. If it's made by Marvel TV or Marvel Television Studios, that is multiversally canon. So like they could cross over from a different world, different dimension, a parallel Earth, parallel timeline, and that's still canon inside of the MCU, just not the MCU's universe or timeline. You see what I mean? So it's like they do exist. It's just an alternate one. And so it would be fun for them to at least just recognize it. That's kind of what people want Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness to do with Sam Raimi's Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. You can have him make an appearance. He doesn't have to be MCU, but he can be MCU multiverse canon. You can just show him Doctor Strange and Wanda traveling through the Multiverse of Madness, and they make a pit stop in the early 2000s Sony Spider-Man real quick just to poke in and say hey to Toby. That would be really freaking cool and a lot of fun. You could do that with Andrew Garfield's from the Mark Webb series. That would be really awesome, and they would give fans like a huge kick. Tons of people would want to see that movie even just for that cameo. And people already do want to see the movie anyway. So really, really cool. I do think it will be canon, but we'll see exactly how that plays out. And again, I apologize for not having seen the series premiere, or the season premiere of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 7. So without further ado, before I continue on to another comment, I'm going to go ahead and read some of these so we don't belabor the point. All right, so it says here, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. producers won't rule out the Marvel TV spinoffs. And so this is pretty cool, because this again goes back to what we were talking about offshoot shows, kind of like how Marvel's Inhumans was supposed to be it was supposed to be a branch out into the same universe as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That was kind of supposed to be a spinoff, but at the last second they got their budget chopped from underneath them, and Marvel Studios was like, we may want to use those characters in the near future, so you got to back off. And so they chopped it down, and it totally flopped. They probably will never bring them back again, which sucks, because it was a cool first episode, but you could tell the budget dropped off, and they just didn't have anywhere else to go. Like they had to make the show within their means, and it was a very humble. It was a bold show that took a lot of risk, but within their financial means, which were extremely limited. And so yeah, let me go ahead and read this. I don't want to keep dragging on. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. producers Jeff Loeb, who's the big dog at Marvel TV, Jeffrey Bell can't definitively say if the long-running Marvel show will never ever return in some form. So this gives hope to every fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Let's continue on beyond the headline. The producers at Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. haven't completely ruled out a return for the series at some point in the future. The 7th and final season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has officially begun, and it already feels like the end of an era. Created back in 2013 as the first television show set in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is for the movies, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. focused on fan favorite Phil Coulson, played by Clark Gregg, and his new S.H.I.E.L.D. team as they investigated the lower level threats that didn't require any Avengers. As the show went on, it managed to reinvent itself in new ways, even as it moved away from the MCU, which it totally did, but they managed to keep it fun and actually continue to add interesting characters. My favorite of which still is actually the way that they introduced Absorbing Man. I really loved the actor. I think his name is Patrick. Might be Patrick. I can't remember. I think it starts with a P, I believe. But the guy is a beast. He's ripped out of his mind, and he was the right call for that character. I was really hoping they'd continue down that path and continue to give him more opportunities on the show. I still do. It says Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. final season comes as Marvel is taking a new approach to television. With all the other Marvel TV shows canceled, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. managing to outlast them all. The studio is creating several shows for Disney Plus with more direct connections to the films. The first batch, starting with the Falcon and Winter Soldier, all-star characters from the movies. Other projects like She-Hulk and Ms. Marvel will establish brand new characters, but still tie into the greater MCU. The growing Marvel presence on Disney Plus has led some fans to wonder if there could be more adventures ahead for the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. characters. Before we go on, I want to make a distinction that I think they failed to make right here. They're talking about Marvel Television, a individual television studio, branch of Marvel, subdivision of Marvel, made Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and other TV shows that have almost all of them since been canceled. I believe it might be all. But then they go on to say that the studio is going to be making shows for Disney Plus. They don't make the distinction, but it's not Marvel TV that's making the Falcon and Winter Soldier, She-Hulk, Ms. Marvel. That is actually the film division, Marvel Studios, not Marvel Television. So I'm not sure if they meant to say that in this article. I'm sure that they probably know that. It might have just been like a lack of clarity here, but that's what's happening. It's actually a different television division created under the cinematic banner of Marvel, so that they can have cinematics correspond with cinematic television created by the same studio, not by Marvel Television Studios. And so that needs to be clarified. It says down here, as part of the post-season premiere interview with Deadline, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. producers Jeff Loeb and Jeffrey Bell didn't definitively say if this final season means the actual end for S.H.I.E.L.D. Loeb simply played coy, saying, "Is anything ever really over nowadays?" Bell gave a more concrete answer, but it says not one that actually cleared anything up. This is what Jeffrey Bell said. Those issues are way above our pay grade, you know? And so with the new Disney Plus and with all the restructuring that Disney is doing with ABC and Marvel, those kinds of questions really are above what we have any say in. It's a very interesting statement here. First of all, Jeff Loeb is the one that typically had like issues with Kevin Feige. They were fighting over a lot of like what to do and can we cross over? Can we do that for the fans? And it was kind of like, no, sorry. So with this, Jeff Loeb actually being considerably more optimistic here is very encouraging for people who want to see Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. continue beyond season 7 or to continue into other projects and have these actors and characters guest star in other projects. He says, is anything really over nowadays? And then the other partner says, basically, is it the end of the show? Is it the end of the characters? Are we going to see more? Bell says, those issues are way above our pay grade, you know, but with the new Disney Plus under the Marvel Cinematic Universe banner, not the Marvel Television, and with all the restructuring that Disney is doing with ABC and Marvel, because keep in mind, ABC is where the Marvel Television division has been under. Marvel Television has been working with ABC to get Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. done. So that's kind of been the relationship there. ABC is owned by Disney. Disney owns ABC. Disney owns Marvel Television. Disney owns Marvel Studios and Marvel in general. And so all these different studios that are working together now, they're restructuring the way that all works. They're restructuring the relationships that are supposed to happen there. I do believe they want to push for concise, like for putting everything into the same multiverse, possibly the same universe and timeline. That could be a very distinct possibility, especially being that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. started as a spinoff inside the MCU. Although it took a deviated turn to kind of protect their own identities, you know, differentiate between the MCU and what's going on in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., even though it's in the timeline, in the universe, it's also kind of outside of it. I think they may try to weave that back together, whether it be in a different show, a new show like Agents of S.W.O.R.D. or something like that, where they go more intergalactic. That could be very fun, very interesting, and allow room for X-Men characters to be introduced in there as well. But anyway, he says those kinds of questions are above what we have any say in. Basically, Marvel Television doesn't get to make that call. That goes up the chain. Not even just directly to Kevin Feige. That goes above that to Alan Horn, and above Alan Horn to Bob Chapek. So whatever Bob and Alan want to do, that's effectively what's going to happen. So I think we're going to see more details on this start to come out soon. But we can continue on down the line to finish this article. It says, as of right now, there are no official plans to bring Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. into a Disney Plus show. No official plans. Rumors suggested Daisy Johnson-Quake could end up joining one, but actress Chloe Bennett shot down the idea on social media. Still, it seems too early to completely write off the possibility of these characters returning at some point. When it comes to Marvel, it often feels like characters are rarely gone for good, even when they end up dying. Or even if they end up dying. Marvel has broad plans for the future, and it would make sense to recruit someone like Quake for a new film or television show. It also sounds like for the first time, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will connect with the MCU once again. Exactly how big of a connection will it be remains unclear, but the 7th season has already promised to cross over with Agent Carter through an appearance from Daniel Sousa, or Enver Gokaj, I don't know how to say that. It says, beyond that, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s final season will surely have more surprises in store. Fans will just have to wait and see if their favorite characters get a new life in the future. That's the end of the article, but I want to come back up and just point this out really quick. It says no official plans to bring in any of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. into a Disney Plus show, but the rumors of Daisy Johnson could end up joining one, except the actress turned it down on social media. So if we go here and we check this out, we can see here, rumor debunked. And so we can see, let me see if I can see the actual, sadly, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will probably be the last fans see of Bennett and the rest of the show's MCU cast. The series is the final remnant of the old Marvel TV show department run by Jeff Loeb, which was rebranded Marvel TV Studios near the beginning of this year, and is now overseen by Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige. Said division was also responsible for creating the Marvel Netflix shows and freeform series Cloak and Dagger, in addition to ABC's Agents of Carter and Hulu's Runaways, all of which have since been canceled. Marvel Studios doesn't seem interested in integrating their characters into Phase 4 or 5 of the MCU either, and is focusing all its efforts on getting the upcoming Marvel Disney Plus shows running instead. Let's see. I wonder if it has a quote, because it said that she shot it down. I just don't know where that is. Oh, here. As part of a Q&A on Twitter, her Twitter account, Bennett addressed the recent rumors about her returning as Quake for a Disney Plus TV show, and she said, "I wish that were true, but they aren't. I haven't heard anything about that besides on Twitter. And so basically, it's just a lot of fans trying to speak their desire into being, which actually has worked. I mean, look at the Snyder Cut. It just got confirmed. Basically, these studios are dying to make money. And if it can make money and if it seems viable, like a good option that's not going to ruin their reputation, they could do it. And they would do it. And they probably will do it. What I'm saying here is that there are no plans to make this happen yet. If there's an outcry from the fans, it would not hurt them to bring that character into a show, into a crossover, appearing in maybe Miss Marvel or some other show. You know, like, you don't know. These things could happen. It's just a matter of what is the priority for Marvel's new arrangement? What do they want to do with the Marvel television division? Because part of it is, how much are they going to absorb under the banner of Marvel Studios television, like the actual new cinematic TV unit? Because the other article didn't make that distinction. This one kind of explains it a little bit, that it's kind of being absorbed a little bit into the new one, which is probably why they cut all of the previous projects, because they need to, for legal reasons, they need to stop those productions and start new ones, so that it could be officially theirs. They can have all that creative control, and Jeff Loeb might be able to go along for the ride if he plays nice. But yeah, that's kind of what it seems like is happening right now based on these articles. I don't know. This kind of reminds me a little bit of the thing that happened with Rosario Dawson, right? So Rosario Dawson saw like fan art and posted fan art of herself as Ahsoka. Everyone was freaking out. Oh my gosh, she's gonna play Ahsoka, and she was just like loving the not that this is bad. I'm not hating. She's loving the attention. Like, yes, take a look at this, share it, and everyone was super stoked. I was super stoked. It's like, heck yeah, dude, she's gonna get to play Ahsoka. Super sick. Then the studio obviously didn't say anything for the Mandalorian for Disney. Disney Plus and Star Wars. They didn't say anything because they were like, that's supposed to be a secret. But then they ended up now, much later, she ended up backpedaling and saying, sorry guys, I'm on the project, but that's not an official casting, so I don't want to get your hopes up, that kind of thing. Later, they ended up updating the IMDb page and showing that, yes, she's playing Ahsoka Tano. So that's more or less confirmation. So in this case, I do think that if people want something, if fans want something, remember, fans aren't just fans. We're not just people that like stuff. We pay for stuff. We watch the content and pay for it by watching their advertisements. If people don't watch, the studios cancel the show. People watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because they like the show. When you watch the show, you're paying for the show. Even if you're watching, like, if you pay for cable and you watch the show, you're not paying for that show, but by watching those advertisements, you're incentivizing the studio to continue to keep that show going because they're getting paid from those advertisements. So that's more or less what's happening. You're paying for this content with your watching, with your viewership, and that's what they want. So if you say we're going to watch something, if you put this person in that show, they'll put the person in the show. That's kind of how it works. Like, give the customer what they want. They may make an executive decision if they think it's detrimental to the show, if they think it's going to hurt the show, then they may not do that. But if it makes sense, like Rosario Dawson playing Ahsoka, they'll probably do it. Putting Boba Fett in The Mandalorian and continuing his story arc as they did in the Legends canon, now they're going to canonize it in presumably canonize it in the Mandalorian series. That's a really good thing, and that's something that won't hurt the show. That's going to be like one of the main draws for season 2. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, they got Boba Fett back. They brought Tamora Morrison to play him back. So like, they're actually getting, the clone, they're getting Jango, they're getting the source clone. And then now the young boy is no longer a boy. He's older. He's just like he was, a little bit older than when he was in the original series, 4, 5, and 6. Super cool. Lots of good stuff. I think it's possible. So I wanted to point a couple of things out. The TV ratings for Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. final season premieres even, and then it says Game On tops the night. So this is just a couple of shows looking at the different viewership levels. Basically, the gist of this is Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. returns for 7th season, final season, and to solid numbers on Wednesday night, while CBS's new game show Game On topped the night. So even though it wasn't the highest rated show ever, that doesn't matter. It was doing really, really well on ABC. So that's one thing that they didn't clarify here, is that it's an ABC show, and then CBS had a different show that did better. But who cares? ABC's killing it. So they say this, coming in with a 0.4 rating amid viewers aged 18 to 49 and just under 2 million total viewers, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 7 premiere was pretty much... Excuse me. Sorry about that. Let me start that over. Coming in with a 0.4 rating amid viewers aged 18 to 49 and just under 2 million total viewers, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 7 premiere was pretty much even on the Season 6 finale from last year. So pretty much everybody who stuck around for the season premiere of last year came back for the new one. That's kind of like the balance of numbers is almost exactly the same. And so then it says, for comparison, the Season 6 premiere drew 2.3 million viewers. Earlier in the night, ABC's airing of Thor: The Dark World hammered out a 0.5 rating and 2.6 million viewers. That's pretty good. That's a really solid viewership. And then it says the other debut of the other night was on CBS, where Game On, an equal parts comedy and game show from James Corden, hosted by Keegan-Michael Key, scored a 0.6 rating with 4.5. It just goes on to name a few other shows. Obviously not all of them are even in the same category of show. Going to have different viewerships, going to have different, people's tastes. But for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think that's pretty good. And so you can see in comparison the shows on the CW, which I think are a more fair comparison because it's other superhero-related shows. More crime and superhero-related shows. It says, on the other CW, episode 2 of the final season of The 100 came in even on the premiere at a 0.2 rating and 804,000 viewers, followed by Bulletproof Replay at 0.1 and 340,000 views. For comparison, The 100 got 804,000, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 7 got 0.4. And it drew the seasons. It was pretty much the same as the other one at 2.3 million viewers. I think that's pretty good. I think those are very successful ratings, and I think it's clear and obvious both to the fans, to the critics, to Marvel Television, and to Marvel Studios that this is a good project they have going on. It's drawing a lot of viewership. People love it. It was originally part of the MCU. They've kind of forced it to break off a little bit, but it's still technically in the MCU. I think that's a very, very, very good thing. It should definitely, in my estimation, be given some sort of continuum into the ongoing MCU, especially if they can bring it into Disney Plus and just have it be another draw for them. That would be great. I would love that. And I think that'd be very, very attractive as a feature for Disney Plus. Attractive as a feature for Disney Plus. So to me, sorry for all the yawning, guys. A little bit tired. It's okay. I've got a baby one. Keeps us up at night and fills our heart with joy. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s Clark Gregg talks the division between Marvel TV and the MCU. This is an interesting set of comments that was made. Before I get into this and reviewing Clark Gregg's opinion on the difference, the kind of divisions between Marvel TV and Marvel Studios, which I will get into. Sorry about my nose, guys. I have allergies, so it's kind of, I'm trying to not have to sneeze right now on this live stream. But anyway, let me go ahead and take some comments because there's plenty of these that I need to get to before I continue on. So next it says, Daniel, have you read the House of M when Wanda goes nuts in the end and destroys all mutants? You think that is what they will do in WandaVision and at the end when Wanda goes nuts and splits the multiverse open? Wanda splits the multiverse open. That is probably how they can get for example, Wesley Snipes, Blade, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, and the Fox X-Men like Hugh Jackman Wolverine, Kelsey Grammer Beast, and Patrick Stewart, Professor X in the MCU. Thank you for this awesome video, Danny. You're the best. No, you're the best, bro. You're always watching my videos, man. I'm really excited to have you be part of this, and you always leave awesome, amazing comments, questions like this that are going to spur on a lot of conversation. So before I move on with this topic about Clark Gregg's comments, I would like to address what you just brought up. House of M is a freaking sick comic. If you love X-Men and you specifically love the House of M, the Magneto family. We're talking about Magneto. We're talking about Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. We're talking about Lorna Dane. There's plenty of mutants that kind of fall under that umbrella, including some of the Young Avengers, like the twins from Wanda and Vision, and of course Vision. But Vision's not a mutant, so the whole thing gets brought about because Wanda loses her crap. Like, she's in love with Vision. Exactly what happened in Infinity War. Okay, so just what happened in Infinity War sets up Wanda perfectly. So from her time in Age of Ultron, from her time in what's it called, Civil War, her time in Infinity War, and then again in Endgame, you see her progress exactly the same entryway she does into into House of M, because she loses everyone in her family. She loses everyone she knows and loves. Her whole world crumbles around her. She falls into mental instability among her emotional instability. And that compounds because she already has a tough time controlling her powers. Just like we saw in Civil War when they had to fight Crossbones and those bad guys were down in the beginning of Civil War. She tried to fire hex bolts that got diverted. And she, what was it? There was an explosive that she tried to manipulate to get away so it wouldn't blow up all the people. She had to lift it up into the sky and it blew a hole in the side of the building and a bunch of people died. She was grieving that because she just wished she had control of her power. She didn't have that because it's an incredibly immense force of power. She almost killed Thanos in Infinity War. In fact, Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers actually commented on that exactly. They said that if Thanos hadn't called down the airstrike on all of his own people and hit basically close to himself, Wanda would have killed him in that moment by herself, without the aid of any other Avengers, without Tony and the Gauntlet, none of that. Wanda was going to kill Thanos by herself with her own raw power unleashed through her emotional instability for vengeance for the loss of the love of her life, which was Vision. So she then, she did lose Vision. Vision doesn't come back. And what happens is she ends up losing it a little bit and starts to daydream, starts to create alternate realities, because her power is not just magical hex bolts and making stuff move with her mind. She has the ability to completely warp and alter reality to her will, to whatever she wants. She can make it happen. She's one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe, period. Which is why she's going to be co-starring with Doctor freaking Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And yes, I do think she's going to be the cause for the Multiverse of Madness, because she is going to be the one that goes mad. She is going to be the one that goes mad and creates a multiverse of absolute madness. And in fact, I think this could actually be a point where we know that an uncle to the babies that are going to come from Wanda and Vision is supposed to be in the show. There's only one uncle, by the way. She only has one brother, and that's Quicksilver. That's Quicksilver, who died in Age of Ultron, played by what's his name again? Aaron. I almost said Aaron Paul. What's his name? Shoot. Remind me his name anyway. I can't remember off the top of my head. You know what? This is gonna bother me if I don't get it. Just give me 1 second. Who played Quicksilver? Aaron Taylor Johnson. That's what it is. Okay, so I knew it was Aaron or something. But anyway, so the whole point was when he dies, she starts to lose it, but Vision helps her stay strong. When Vision dies, there really isn't anybody to help her stay strong. So she kind of goes off on her own. And her powers, probably in her nightmares, probably in her worst dreams, start to cause her to use her ability to create a happy place. You know what I mean? Like, she goes happy place mode. That's what happened in the House of M. Is she changed reality to allow Vision to be alive. Her and her family were all together again, and they were the ones in power. Mutants were in power, and people without powers were the ones that were enslaved and in fear. So it was a mutant dominant world. I think this is close to where they're going to go. It does give a lot of ability for them to bring these characters into existence through Wanda's powers. It even does allow it to be in an alternate reality, and then they could bring it over. I don't think that's how they're gonna really do it. It's a way they can do it, and a good way even. I think they're just going to go with the off-screen method, like where same way that they introduced Ant-Man, same way that they introduced every hero that wasn't Iron Man. They just existed. So like they existed the entire time. Some of these people already had their powers. Not every origin story has to show how they got their powers. But I do think they will do that to a degree, maybe in flashback sequences. But basically, it's just going to be that the mutants were in hiding this entire time, living among everybody. And then when the snap happened, some of them disappeared. Some of them had their powers completely unlocked upon the reemergence. They call it the blip, when people blipped back into reality. I think that probably triggered the X genes in a lot of people, so that there was more mutants, and they started to become more popular because there's just simply more of them and harder to hide. I think that's probably going to be one way they do it. The Multiverse of Madness will deal with Wanda, her brother. I mean, her brother may actually end up dying by the end of the WandaVision first season. Because he'll be brought back through her powers, but I think when she's not using her powers, she'll end up snapping back to true reality. And then that will show that everyone she loves is dead, and maybe she forcibly creates a new reality, or alters our current reality in a way that it's irreparable apart from a movie. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, undoing the chaos that happened with Scarlet Witch. So I think that they're going to play off of the House of M in WandaVision. I don't think they're going to directly do House of M. I think they're going to steal a lot of the elements, like bringing Pietro back, having the twins with Vision, bringing Vision back to life. All of that will play out in the way that it did in House of M. I just don't think she's going to create a mutant-dominated world just yet. But it'll be similar. She's going to create a world that is ideal for her, but chaotic and strange and madness. And Doctor Strange is going to have to help her sort that out, probably. It'll be a really cool ride. Those are the two projects I think I'm most excited for, honestly, is WandaVision and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Really cool concepts, really great characters, and a lot of potential for mutant activity. Super cool. All right, so I'm going to leave that there. And yes, of course, the crossovers with Wesley Snipes, Blade, Tobey Maguire, the Fox characters, that can all absolutely happen with the multiverse now. It's completely possible. They could have made that happen during Endgame if they wanted to. I mean, they would have had to do some reshoots, but it could have happened. And they could have that happen at any point from here on forward. They could do it in Ant-Man 3. They could do it in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think there's rumors that Omega Red is going to be in that. He's a mutant character. Like, he's a mutant character. You know, he's an X-Men character. Not an X-Men. I know he's a bad guy. But you know what I'm saying. He's a Fox, previously owned Fox character that is now going to be in an MCU show, presumably. So I'm excited to see what happens there. So anyways, Dusty Weeb. What's up, Dusty? How's it going, man? He says, sup, D-Lo? For X-Men, I'd like to fan cast you. I'd like to fan cast you to play the part of Beast. Oh, so you want me to play Beast? Heck yeah. You say you have the right size and personality, but you would look blue and hairy. That sounds fun to me. I would totally go blue for a role. I've actually done green a few times. I've been the Hulk a couple of times for like movies and cosplay. So to me, that would be a lot of fun. I would have a lot of fun doing body paint and prosthetic fur. That'd be great. Be uncomfortable, but enjoyable for photos and for memories. It'll be great. And then he says, to be honest, I haven't been able to get into any X-Men TV series, just the movies. You know, it has been a little bit more difficult for me to get into X-Men TV series as well, as far as, like, the animated stuff. I love almost everything they've put out. But as far as, like, let me show you guys real quick. There is Legion, That one is trippy. Like that's an LSD ride. Like that one's unbelievable. My friend, one of my good friends, Ryan, he told me like you gotta watch, you gotta keep watching. Like they do an amazing job on that. I saw the first few episodes. I really liked it. Shannon did not like that show, so we stopped watching. Shannon's my wife, and we started watching The Gifted. Again, I really liked that show, and so did my wife. I'm not exactly. I don't even remember why we stopped watching that one. I would love to go back and continue watching because I really liked the characters they had in there. I like the actors. I would love to continue finishing that one. As far as other X-Men TV series, I think the only ones I'm aware of are the animated stuff, and I love those. So like the X-Men in the 90s, X-Men Evolution here. I flipping love those series. Those were great. I could watch those any day, all day, forever. Like those shows pretty much made me the X-Men fan that I am. Like I just love them so much. I mean, obviously like the comics and the movies as well, but the movies for me were a bummer because it was just Wolverine and friends. Like every single X-Men movie so far except for First Class, like First Class and what was it? What's the new one? Dark Phoenix. Those two were not Wolverine and friends. The rest of them, a lot of like for the most part, I mean the older ones, the 2000s ones, it's Wolverine and friends. And then obviously Wolverine got his own series after that, which is like, for me, it was kind of frustrating because even though like the last one was really good, it was like we already got Wolverine movies. Like the 2000s X-Men's, they were all movies entirely revolving around Wolverine. It was all about Wolverine, had nothing to do with Cyclops, had nothing to, because they made him a full-on weenie. Like they made Cyclops a total loser, D-bag. You had to hate him. And that was like frustrating for me as an X-Men fan. It was all about Wolverine. And I like Wolverine as a character. I like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, I really do. But that's not what X-Men is. That's not what X-Men has been. X-Men has always been about every single one of those characters on the team. They tell their stories. They give everyone their own like arcs and development, and you get to learn their backstories, how their powers are progressing, the struggles that come with developing powers, and the more power that grows, the more difficult it is to deal with, and the responsibility of using it wisely and that kind of thing. None of that happened for anybody except for pretty much just Wolverine and Jean. And it just, to me, it wasn't very awesome. It was fun. I can still rewatch those movies, but that's not why I like X-Men. You know what I mean? It's not just about Wolverine. So for me, I'd like to see more X-Men without Wolverine. That's why one of the reasons why I did like The Gifted, because they did that. So anyway, I know it's not for everybody, but that's just kind of more or less my take on that. So then it says, Daniel's Hot Topics. So Wanda goes nuts, splits open the multiverse, and the multiverse spills over into the MCU, and we can get our favorite characters back in the MCU, and maybe they will stay in the MCU. That is how I would write it. No, yeah, totally. I hope they bring back Aaron Taylor Johnson as Quicksilver permanently. I hope he gets to be a permanent mainstay in the MCU after this. Full resurrection, just make it happen, because it was so exciting for me. I love Quicksilver. Like I love him as a character. I thought Aaron Taylor Johnson was great. I thought that adaptation was really interesting. And I love the dynamic between him and Elizabeth Olsen. I wanted more. So when he died in Age of Ultron, it was the biggest bummer to me because these were the two first mutant characters that were allowed into the MCU under the banner of Miracle, but still mutants. It's just technicality. That was the biggest bummer because I was waiting. Bring in some X-Men. Let's make it happen. There's plenty of characters you can use that are mutants, that are also Avengers, that fall into that category you can totally use as long as you don't say the word mutant or X-gene. And so those, I wanted it and it died first movie. That was so sad for me. It was sad in the movie. Like it gave it weight. I understand the value of the storytelling part of that. Screw that. I want Quicksilver back, man. So bring him back, permanent style. Let's have more mutants in the MCU. Let's do the X-Men versus the Brotherhood, the Avengers versus the X-Men. Inhumans versus X-Men. Let's do it. Let's just get it out there. I want those stories told. So anyway, let's go over to Dusty Weeb. He says, if they could make a series of the classic X-Men versus Avengers, that would be something I'd get into. I'm certain. Sorry, I misread that. I don't have my glasses in front of me. That would be really helpful at this time, but it's okay. I can. Oh wait, maybe this. Yeah, I think I found it. Yep, got it. It was behind my special like Stream Deck button panel. All right, now I look like a nerd and everybody loves me. This is how Beast will look anyway. So you just paint me blue, give me some fuzzy mutton chops coming out to here like a lion. That'd be awesome. And if they do Agents of Sword, they should and must include Beast. That would be a travesty if they didn't include Beast in that. But anyway, so it says, if they could make a series of classic X-Men versus Avengers, that would be something I'd be certain I'd get into. Yes, I would love that. And I think everyone in the world would go see that movie. Even if it sucked, they'd still see it. That movie, like, that needs to happen. That comic series is brilliant. I love the way it was written. It integrated really nicely into the Phoenix Force. I really enjoyed the split between like Namor and Cyclops and Colossus, and like the way that they had the Phoenix Force kind of spread out and then diversely integrate into certain mutants. Really cool. And I'm a huge Namor fan, so I really love seeing those stories. I think it'll be a little while before we get X-Men versus Avengers, but that will be one of the first major movies that involves crossing over with the X-Men, I imagine, because that's a perfect way to get that ball rolling. All right, so next up, Daniel's Hot Topic says, it's a little odd because in Season 6 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., in Season 6, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fought this really powerful enemy that was going to destroy the world, and not one Avenger showed up. If that was that the one that I think it might have been Season 5 or 4 where they did Graviton. That one was really cool. I really like that. He's a Magneto-like being, except for it's not magnetism specifically, it's gravity. So technically speaking, he has manipulation and control over more than just magnetism. I really love the way that they integrate these villains. It is odd because when you have like a world level threat, like a global threat, you would imagine the Avengers would be, what the heck is going on? Let's go try to save the day. No, because it's not intrinsically connected. I mean, it's historically connected to the MCU, but the recent seasons have been a splinter universe, splinter timeline. Like when they did LMD, one of the reasons why they did that was because the whole point of LMD, Life Model Decoy, was because it was taking place inside of a computer universe that was not real. So they didn't have to cross over with any real world heroes. It was logical to do that. So when they also went off and fought the Kree, they didn't have to worry about crossing over with any Avengers. The only one they might have worried about crossing over with was Captain Marvel, and she wasn't around at the time. So, I mean, timeline-wise for the MCU, yes, but she wasn't integrated into the MCU yet. And it was fair game for Marvel TV to use that, so they did. And so, like, you'll notice a lot of their world events are either parallel worlds or like back in time or some other like time stream. Like they kind of work it around so that these big events don't end up being the main world public type of thing. Like when Daisy was presumed to have shattered the Earth and they were trying to figure out who did that, why, what was the cause. It was an alternate world. It was an alternate timeline. So they kind of work it out in a way that it's like it's not the real continuity, so the Avengers wouldn't be here. You know, it's like that's kind of what they do. So yeah, that's more or less what's going on there. It's all about dodging the connections to the MCU. That's what it's all about. It says, I heard some interesting leaks about the Loki TV series. I hear that the TVA will blame Loki for time travel, and the Avengers did, for some reason, they'll blame Loki for the time travel that the Avengers did for some reason, and the Avengers created a black hole. This black hole leads to 5 universes: the main Avengers universe, a universe with an alternate land, a universe where a quantum catastrophe happened, and a universe where Loki killed Thor, and a universe where Thor killed Odin for the throne of Asgard, and now that evil Thor is attacking New York in his universe. That would be wild. I mean, I bet you it will be transdimensional. It will be various timelines, and it might even involve multiple Lokis. The reason why I think that is because these Disney Plus shows are all leading up to the Young Avengers. Whether it's going to take place in their second season, their first season, their third season, it's going to, maybe it'll just introduce a tertiary character that will then get their own show, or be part of an expounded show called the Young Avengers. Hawkeye is all about Kate Bishop. That's a Young Avenger. We already have Cassie Lang from Avengers Endgame. That's already a thing, and she's going to be part of no doubt she'll probably be part of Ant-Man 3. She's definitely going to be part of any Young Avenger projects that come up in the future. We also know that, what is his name? Elijah Bradley. Elijah Bradley is going to be part of the Young Avengers as well as Patriot. He will be kind of like their sub version of, our mini version of Captain America. There's also going to be Kang, or specifically Iron Lad, who is young Kang the Conqueror. He'll probably be introduced as the primary starting villain. Loki, the show, is going to introduce young Loki. It's going to introduce a younger alternate version of Loki that is good, that has all of the guilt and burden and shame of all of his past sins, but does not remember them specifically. And so just has this overwhelming burden to do good. Just like Loki said in the Avengers, I am burdened with glorious purpose. That's what he is going to use, but this time for good, to be part of the Young Avengers. And all of these characters and more are going to be, including the WandaVision kids. Those twins are going to be part of the Young Avengers as well. So we're talking about every single TV show on Disney Plus, save for probably She-Hulk and Moon Knight. Those are probably the only two. Those two will not introduce a Young Avenger, I think. I could be wrong. It's possible that Hulkling gets introduced in She-Hulk. That's possible. But he's a Captain Marvel character, so that might be introduced in Captain Marvel too. But anyway, so I think this is all building to Young Avengers. I think it's pretty obvious where they're going with this. Plus, they're going to need young actors to replace the older generation of actors that is getting older every movie. So that's what I think. Anyways, the multiverse theory that you have, the multiple universes in the show Loki, does make sense to me. If he gets punished for time travel, that makes sense to me. I don't know that is going to happen. I haven't heard that myself yet, and I haven't ventured into that theory just yet, but why not? It makes sense. I think he's going to go to hell. Specifically, I think he's going to go to hell. He's going to erase his name from the book of death permanently, the book of hell, the damned. And then, just like in the comics, he'll get cast back into life, but as a youth with the burden of all of his past sins, but not the memory. And Thor will help guide him to be the good Loki, or Eikol, which is Loki spelled backwards, which is kind of dumb, but it is what it is. And then he'll become part of the Young Avengers. So that's kind of what I think. Anyway, I think they're going to try to base that off the comics as much as possible. It could be true. It sounds good to me, and I would love to see a bad Thor. That'd be awesome. There will be 3 Ghost Riders in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and I hope one of them will be Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider. What makes you think that there will be 3 Ghost Riders in Doctor Strange? Was that confirmed? I don't know if I missed that. Can you, if that's confirmed, can you send me a link to an article that claims that? I would love to see that, because I'll straight up make a video about that. If they have Robbie Reyes, what's the first one? It was Daniel something. Daniel, I can't remember the first guy's name. There's Johnny Blaze, Robbie Reyes, and Daniel something was the first one that rode a horse. I would love to see that. Or maybe there's just 3 Johnny Blazes from different universes. Who knows? But yes, I would love to see Nick Cage back in a Marvel movie as quickly as possible. I love Nicolas Cage. I know a lot of people consider him completely ridiculous because he is, but he's also a good actor to a degree. I mean, depending on what you're trying to cast him for. I think people need to stop shirking typecasting. Like, as far as actors, if you're good at a certain thing, be good at it. Like, just do it. Just continue down that path. That's a good thing. If you can't get roles that you're trying to get, I feel bad for you, because if that's what you want to do, that's great. But if you're really good at something and people want to pay you to do that, you should do it. I think it's a good thing. Of course, do what you want, because it's a free country while it still is. All right. Daniel's Hot Topic says, OMG, Daniel, Quicksilver will return in WandaVision, but it will be the Quicksilver from the X-Men Days of Future Past. And then Quicksilver will play, and then Dusty says Quicksilver will play the part of Kenny in WandaVerse and will die every episode. Yeah, and then I think you might be right. I think we will see Quicksilver be alive, and I think we will see him die again. I think we're going to witness that a few times, because it's part of her mental breakdown. It's part of her emotional breakdown that she lost every single person that she loves. So that's going to be a big, big deal for that. And with, as far as, I heard Evan Peters is coming into the show as well. He may not be playing Quicksilver. He may be playing an alternate version of Quicksilver. He may be playing a villain. I think that the MCU is not going to ignore Aaron Taylor Johnson. There was no, as far as we're aware, there was no bad blood between Aaron Taylor Johnson and the studio. It was just, they made the executive decision to make a death happen, and he drew the short stick. So they needed him to die to be Wanda's motivation. But that also brings it back full circle. To have Aaron Taylor Johnson come back, be the MCU Quicksilver again, have Evan Peters come back, that's an ironic casting because he's the other Quicksilver. He might even be a speedster, but be a multiversal evil force. That would be really cool. I would like to see that. Maybe he plays the embodiment of fear itself, or Nightmare, or something like that. It would be awesome to see that, and I cannot wait. I would like to see a link about that too. I'll find that as well, because I want to make videos about that, because that sounds like a lot of fun to discuss for me. I love the characters of Quicksilver and Wanda. So then it says, Daniel's Hot Topic says, I think they said Wanda and Quicksilver were Inhumans, not mutants. That is not correct. So what happened, Daniel's Hot Topics, was they said they were miracles, not Inhumans. There was no Terrigenesis. There were no Terrigen crystals used. That's not what happened. They never have been, nor never will be Inhumans. They are mutants. They are X-gene mutants, and that is actually, it was actually confirmed. I've made multiple videos about this on my channel in the past. So if you look that up, you can find on my channel discussions about mutants in the MCU, and how that was confirmed in both the end credits of the Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and also in Avengers: Age of Ultron. Those two movies have evidence for them being mutants, not some other being. So I know John Campea talks all the time about how, nope, they're not mutants. They're not mutants. Legally, they're not mutants. He's right on legal terms only, on semantical terms only. He's correct. They did not say the word mutants, but that does not mean they are not mutants. And this is a hill I'm willing to die on. Like, I genuinely believe what John Campea is saying about that is true semantically. It's not true for his claim that they're not mutants inside of the MCU. He says because they can't use mutants, that's incorrect. They can use mutants that are part of the Avengers. Mutants that are already part of the Avengers are shared properties. They can use both. And they don't have to shirk the fact that they are mutants. They just simply cannot say mutants. Legally, they cannot say mutants. And so what happens is that they have Baron von Strucker using an Infinity Stone to awaken the genetic coding within these mutants, Wanda and Pietro. And they end up surviving the experiments. And in fact, von Strucker said that they were conducting experiments all around the world, and the two that survived of all the others were Wanda and Pietro. They didn't give reasons for this. They said they were miracles. They were the only two that survived contact with an Infinity Stone, with the scepter. Why? The question is because they were genetically predisposed to surviving such conditions. The Infinity Stones awakened the genetics in them that allowed them to mutate instead of die. Everyone else died. And why would a brother and sister survive unless they both had genetic predisposition to mutation? They both mutated instead of perished. And it's because they were mutants. It's not because they were Inhumans. It's because they were mutants. Inhumans are very specific. So the ones that are born of Earth, that are the remnants of the Inhumans that were left on Earth, the ones that didn't travel to the moon, they must gain their powers through Terrigenesis, through the Terrigen crystals, which we've seen in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which we've seen in the Inhumans show, which if you read the comics, you already know. It's different. It's not the same thing as the X gene mutation. Wanda and Quicksilver were experimented on and had their genetics awakened by the crystal that was on the scepter. So don't be confused just because they didn't say mutant. They used the word miracles as a loophole to continue to use the mutant characters that are within their legal parameters because they're Avengers. But they couldn't say mutant. So they had the villain say, these powers, there's them surviving, it's a miracle. And that's what they said. So like, they just got around it by not recognizing them as their correct title. That's all it was. They are mutants though. And they're now, because they own Fox, they are going to canonize it as mutants. They're not going to shirk around it like they did before. They don't have to dodge it anymore. Once more mutants start coming out into the mainstream and into the light, we are going to see them called mutants 100%. They're not going to dodge that. If anyone tells you different, if someone else, like another pundit, tells you that they're going to continue to dodge the topic of mutants, they're completely, patently untrue. Kevin Feige himself confirmed that mutants will be in the MCU. Mutants, using that phrase. After they purchased Fox, they made that exact statement. So you can check that out for yourself. I should make another updated video on that, quoting the new quotes from Kevin Feige. Now that we've seen Endgame, we understand the multiversal possibilities that could ensue because of that. Just continue to make the possibilities more and more endless. But anyway, enough about that. I can go for days on that subject, and which I already have. Thanks for the question and comment. But yeah, they're not. Quicksilver and Wanda are not Inhumans. They are mutants. Daniel's Hot Topic says, what if Loki goes to the alternate universe, kills the evil Thor, and takes his hammer and goes back to the main universe? He will give Thor's girlfriend the hammer in Thor 4: The Dark World. I gotta be honest, I'm not thrilled about the idea of a Jane Foster Thor. I know there's a lot of people that are excited for that. That's great. That's wonderful. It'll be cool when we see it in theaters, I'm sure. I'm going to see that film. But Loki being the one to give the hammer, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, if he would have to be demonstrably good before he ever was able to pick up the hammer. So if he was able to pick up the hammer, he would already have to be good. I don't know that that would be the case for Loki unless they were doing like young Loki. And then if young Loki comes back and gives it to Jane, it seems odd. I would be willing to watch it. I'm sure that they could write a good reason for that to happen. It's unlikely, but it's a fun thought scenario. My issue with Jane as Thor is that Thor is not a title. Thor is his name. His name is Thor Odinson. So it's kind of like this. When Sam Wilson takes up the mantle of Captain America, they don't call him Steve Rogers. They call him Captain America. You know what I'm saying? Like, if someone puts on the Batman cowl, they become Batman. They don't become Bruce Wayne. So the problem with Thor getting another Thor is that it's his name. It's not his title. It's his name. It's not his superhero name. It's his actual name. So like when you say the Mighty Thor, that's what they're going to call her. It's like, did they get married? You know, like why do they have the same name? To me, it's a weird poor choice of name. The reason they did it was so that they could have their token character. They could tokenize Thor to be a female, and they could try to draw in more crowds, more viewers from a different demographic to get excited about a comic book. I understand why they did it. I understand why people like it. It's cool. It's a cool concept, but they should have given her her own name. Like, they shouldn't call her Thor. That's stupid. You know, it's like Sam Wilson takes over the mantle of Captain America. I've said this already. And then he comes around. He's like, I am Steve Rogers. You're not Steve Rogers. You're Sam Wilson, Captain America. You're still Captain America. You represent Captain America, but you're not Steve Rogers. You know what I'm saying? So like, Thor Odin's son is his own identity. Loki Laufey's son is his name. Like, if someone becomes the new god of mischief, he doesn't become Loki. He becomes the god of mischief. Thor, being the god of thunder, obviously Jane, the blessing and the curse, the burden that is on the hammer is whoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor, which includes the power of thunder. So that's why Captain America was able to get lightning out of the hammer in Endgame. Jane will be able to do the same thing. Calling her the Mighty Thor is a really dumb adjective title switcheroo, because it's still Thor. Like, you're still saying you're Thor. And to me, that's weak. It's a really poor title. They should have called her like you know what I'll do is I'll make a video. In fact, I'm gonna make this note. I'm gonna actually make it a topic. I'm gonna rename the Mighty Thor, so we can get past this, because the Mighty Thor is a crappy name. It's hot garbage. It took no forethought. I'm gonna come up with like a list of 10 names that I think are better suited for Jane to take up the mantle, because Beta Ray Bill didn't become Thor when he took up the hammer. That's not Thor. That's Beta Ray Bill. So he's not like Beta Ray Thor. He's Beta Ray Bill. He's still Bill. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the lamest, weakest writing for a character name. They could have given her an original look too, because she looks exactly like Thor. They could have done something, you know, I mean, it's literally just feminine Thor. That's all it is. They could have done something a little slicker with the styling, I thought. They could have even given her her own original weapon. Like, they didn't have to make it the same exact thing with the hammer. I just feel kind of like it's a cheap stretch to just grab more attention. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel. I'm not bashing anybody who likes that character. It's a cool concept. It's literally the same concept as Thor. The same concept as Thor. Just a woman. That's the only difference. And so, yeah, that's kind of like, I'm not hating on it, but I'm going to make a video to rename that name, because the Mighty Thor is weak sauce. They should come up with like the Mighty Jane, or, you know, something like that, which also sounds lame. I'll come up with better things than that. But it says here, I heard it from Emergency Awesome that there will be 3 Ghost Riders in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Yeah, send me a link to that if you can. Just email it to my channel, or just drop it in the comments or something. I'll check it out for sure. I want to know where he's getting that information. He's very reliable. I love Emergency Awesome. He's an incredibly reliable source. His sources are almost always entirely credible. Like, that guy is on point. He does his research, and he doesn't make claims that are unsubstantiated, but I would like to see for myself to see if whether or not he was suggesting as a possibility that could happen, or if he knows that is going to happen. So that's more or less what I want to see. So link me up, bro. Thank you for bringing that up. And I would love it if there were 3 Doctor Stranges. So it says, or Thor 4 Love and Thunder. Sorry about that. Yes, Thor 4 Love and Thunder. I think that's a cool movie title. I actually do like that. I can't wait to see that movie. I'm glad Christian Bale's in it. Can't wait to see who he's playing. Just that whole thing with the naming of Jane's the Mighty Thor is kind of weird. So it says, you know the story of Ben Reilly. Ben Reilly is a clone of Spider-Man. Yes, I do know that, and that is how you could get Tobey Maguire into the MCU. Think about it. In a Spider-Verse movie, says, say Madam Web brings Tobey Maguire Spider-Man to the MCU to help Tom Holland with some problem. So Tobey Maguire will get into a big fight. Think of the fight he gets into with Green Goblin and gets all bloody, and you know the blood gets everywhere. So at the end of the movie, they beat the bad guy, and Madam Web sends Tobey back to his universe. And in the post-credit scene, someone finds Tobey Maguire's blood in the end credit scene that someone takes. And takes Tobey Maguire's blood to Oscorp, and Oscorp will clone their own Spider-Man clone of Tobey Maguire, Ben Reilly of the MCU, played by Tobey Maguire. That would be super awesome. You have no idea how much I want that to happen. That would be so legit. Have that crossover, instigate a Ben Reilly scenario. I'm so down. Like, even if they literally did a live action depiction of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, to me, that would be amazing. I would love to see that. I love Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I love the concept of Spider-Verse. I can't wait to see Madam Web. I can't wait to see Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. Multiverses are opening up on both sides of the Sonyverse and the MCU, which, by the way, are linked already. Confirmed by the existence of Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, and the trailers for Morbius, and now what we're seeing them reworking with Venom. All of that confirms, and plus Michael Keaton's Vulture appearing in the trailer for Morbius being the key factor for the crossover. But yeah, I'm so down. Bring Tobey in. Do that. That would make my heart swell to an unbelievable degree. I'd be so excited, so happy. As a huge Spider-Man fan, and specifically a big fan of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, the films, that would make me overjoyed. I would be like shouting from the rooftops, everyone see this movie, please, for me. Like, that'd be so great. So anyway, I'm going to continue on. I did not read this. I'll make this fast. In fact, I'll jump right over here to just the division that's going on between the studios of Marvel Television and Marvel Film. Clark Gregg, who plays Agent Coulson, says, you know, no one ever knew the show would go on 130 some episodes. It was never going to be like, this week, Tony Stark is here. Then there was the division between Marvel TV and Marvel Cinematic on a corporate level. So the showrunners, Jed and Mo and Jeff Bell, had to really scour parts of the Marvel Universe that weren't tied up with the incredibly elaborate plans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They ended up using all kinds of things: Inhumans, time travel, Ghost Rider, and all these things nobody is using, and many times to great effect. So it doesn't surprise me at some point, like, well, it's what everyone thought all along, and now he is finally a life model, blah, blah, blah. So I don't want to give too many spoilers, because I think this might have been a spoiler for something. Nevertheless, apologies for that if that was what you were looking for. But this was in a kind of alluded to in a previous season anyway. So what's going on here is just that pertaining to the season finale and then the resurrection of season 7, a lot is taking place, and he kind of mentions the corporate level disputes and dissent between Marvel Cinematic Universes and Marvel Television. The business end between that got kind of rough. They were fighting over who could do what, and if pursuing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and adding characters was going to step on the toes of the people in the cinematic universe. That's where that fallout kind of happened, because Kevin Feige wanted the whole world to himself, and he wasn't allowed to have it. So that's kind of what happened. And Jeff Loeb obviously wanted more of that world for himself, and he ended up getting some of that. Not all of it. Obviously, he had to stick to things that were expressly not going to be used in the movies, but that's where kind of that falling out happened. Now we're seeing that Marvel Television's kind of starting to fall under the umbrella. Rumors are spreading that the television division is going to be absorbed probably into the Marvel Studios, the film division, which is now making all of this stuff at Disney Plus. So I'll be really interested to see what happens here. And yeah, so we already talked about the ratings. You guys let me know what you think about all of this. This is a big discussion we had about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Marvel Television Universe and what's going on here. the possibility that it may not be over, the possibility that they may be included into the MCU at some point or re-recognized back into the main canon. That would be wonderful. I would love to see that, and I can't wait to see the season premiere of season 7 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know many of you guys already have. I have not yet, but I can't wait to watch that. I probably will watch that either today or tomorrow or in the next couple days. So anyways, let me take this last question and then I will wrap it up. So let me go ahead and shift over to my new screen and let's take this question. So do you think Venom is in the MCU? I hope he is, and if Morbius and Venom will cross over, and Morbius is in the MCU because he crossed over with Michael Keaton, so Vulture, so Venom has to be in the MCU. I made several videos on this. I genuinely do believe 100% that first of all, based on the fact that the MCU already recognizes and canonizes Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home, that the Sonyverse is already intrinsically related to the MCU. However, there was a falling out of the two studios and a re-emerging. I think upon re-emerging, there had to be an agreement that we are going to cross over. You need to get on board with that, and we're going to take our toys away forever, and you're not going to make royalties on Spider-Man anymore. And they said, let's bite the bullet. Okay, fine, we need Spider-Man. So now, Morbius, Venom, Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, they're all made by Sony, not made by Marvel, but they are in the Marvel canon. And we see from the trailers of Morbius that Michael Keaton, as depicted exactly in Spider-Man Homecoming, an MCU canon film, is reappearing in his jumpsuit exactly where we left him off previously in the Morbius film. And we have the Venom movie shoots are taking place to include posters and images of Spider-Man in the MCU from all of this new deal working that's been happening. So I firmly believe that based on the evidence we have from the Morbius trailer and the fact that the two studios have reunited again under the same banner, slightly new agreement, but now we have two multiversal films coming out, there will be crossover at some point, I bet. I don't know if it'll be constant or if it'll be like Sonyverse is its own universe, MCU is its own universe. There's a converging point right here where Tom Holland has to come back and forth, and Madam Web might bring him back and forth between the two. We don't know, but I think it's a safe bet. I say yes. I say they are. That's my opinion. It's not a fact, but I believe the evidence supports that. So you guys draw your own conclusions. Come, let me know what you guys think about all of that. And if you guys don't mind, would you please join me for 1 second so I can show you guys something kind of cool. I sell t-shirts. I sell a lot of things, mugs, stickers, wall art, pins, magnets, everything you can imagine with my own custom designs based on all your favorite superhero and fandom concepts. But we also sell some face masks. That's there for you guys if you want to check those out as well. But on my page, which is linked in the link tree down below in the video description, you can get all kinds of merch. You can get all kinds of designs. If you guys are gearing up for some serious Mephisto action, you can get the Mephisto Made Me Do It t-shirt that I created. You can get a Fancasting Summit t-shirt. I bricking love Lego. You can get Dick Purcell is my Captain America. I bet you guys didn't know about him, but you will soon. So you check these out. You can check out the Matt Salinger, Arthur Pierce, all these different actors that have played Captain America. You can check out Boyka Batman, Battinson logos, all that stuff, Batman fans, and so much more that you can find on my page. Many of these I'm promoting for other people, but the vast majority of them are my own designs. And you can especially go to my brand here and get yourself a Stuff of Legend t-shirt with my designs here, or custom text as well. So check it out and support my channel. Every sale is going to help bring me up financially. It's going to help put food on my family's table, especially during these trying and difficult times. And I appreciate every single penny that you guys put forth for that. So thank you very much. And shop around. If you like what you see, get yourself something nice. Also, if you want to support my channel for free with no money down, absolutely 100% por gratis free, you can like this video, share it with a homie, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Those 4 things will help me grow to the 1,000 subscriber mark I'm trying to get to. So please help me get there. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave if you haven't already. And I appreciate you guys sticking around to the end of this video so that we can have discussions in the live. Thank you again, Daniel's Hot Topics, for making this video possible by submitting your topic down below in the comments, just as seen right here. I appreciate that. Anyone who requests a video, if I'm knowledgeable to answer that, or if I think I can come up with something for you, I will make that video. I'm all about these kinds of discussions, and be sure to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss it when I go live with your topics and questions. Thank you guys. I appreciate everything you do for me on this channel. Your involvement means the world. You guys are the best. Stay tuned for more right here on The Stuff of Legend. Hey guys, D-Lo here. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And remember to share this video with all of your nerd friends. I know you got them, and you know who they are. Leave a comment below and let me know what you thought about this discussion. Let me know what you would like to see me do a video on next. Subscribe to the channel because you're a legend, and we have that in common. Also be sure to turn on notifications to be notified right away when I upload my next video, or so that you can be alerted when I go live next time. That way you'll never miss a thing. Check out the other videos on the channel so that we can have a discussion on all your favorite movies and TV topics. Thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more right here on